Diaries of a Madman. By What Must I Do? Chapter 197. Part 1 of 4. Taya and I appeared back in the neutral glade. Our guide was waiting for us. "So what did you learn?" she asked with a smile. "Friendship is magic," I replied as sarcastically as I could. "Bingo! I didn't even have to torture you for it. Will you ever be able to say that without being sarcastic?" Taya asked. "I hope not," I said. Things that are super spooky and challenging to me alone are much easier when faced with people who can melt faces with their mind. Not only does it give me extra combat power, but I also have bait when things go awry. "Shouldn't we volunteer to stay behind, since we can respawn?" Taya asked. "Not against the undead, because fuck that shit. I don't want the last thing this body experiences to be getting eaten by zombies. You can stay behind if you want, though. Your legs are shorter, so they should catch you first anyway." "Gee, thanks," she said, doing her best to sound as sarcastic as me. "So, have we gotten any messages?" I asked. "That one was pretty long. Surely someone's come by to bitch." "Time stopped when Taya entered," the guide said. "And will stay stopped until you are finished. That is what happens when there are two present." "Shit, I wish I had known that," I said. "How healed up is my body, Taya?" "It's fine," she said. "But I'm not sure you'll approve of the replacements. I guess we'll have to see how they work first." "Oh boy! Your wings are a lot like moonbeams now," Taya said. "But Twilight and Athena said your wings have a lot of magic in them, so you should have no problems flying. Your tail's like a vine. We don't really know if you'll be able to move it, but Flo and Aqua are inclined to think you can. It's also full of magic." God damn it, I really did get fairy wings. "Oh well, whatever. I'll take stock when I get out." "So, we won't be getting any more messages. At this point, we only really have one or two more bad things up ahead, my horrific drug trip in Africa and the trip to Iceland. I say we knock this shit out and get back to reality." "It's your coma, mommy," Taya said. "If time really is standing still for us, we can take all the time we need for it." "Is there anything about the bunker you want to discuss while we're here?" the guide asked. "Can you see Ava?" I asked. "I can't. I also can't make her appear." "What do you think of her?" "My assumption is that she was in her 30s when she died. That gave her much more time to live and mature among humans. I think that experience is very valuable to someone who, for one, was not raised very well and for two, was deposited unceremoniously in another world before being left essentially to her own devices. Ava could be extremely useful and I don't see why you haven't worked to build up a stable line of communication with her yet. She could act as a true human counterpart to Flo and Aqua, working as an assistant that only you could see or understand. Given how much else she has going on, she would likely be open to the idea since it would give her more time to try to better you." After what happened in the bunker and the mine, I distrusted the undead. After having more time to speak to her and discovering that she's more interested in passing on than stealing my body, I realized that distrust is unwarranted in her case. I hadn't considered actually trying to work with her more, but it's an interesting idea. I'll see if I can figure out a way to talk to her later and see if she'd be open to it. Taya's hoof pump annoyed me. I'd want it so that only I could perceive her, of course. "I know the spell that lets me see ghosts and I know the translation spell," Taya said with a smirk. "I'm so talking to her all the time now. I forbid it. I don't want her twisting your mind with that filthy Jesus talk. Next thing I know, you'll start demanding I tithe." "What's tithing?" "Fuck if I'll tell you, then you'll make me do it. Let's get moving before she gets any ideas." "Is your body prepared for what is to come?" my guide menacingly asked. "Yeah, wait, why are you asking like that?" "Unfortunately," she giggled. "Oh, no reason. So, are you ready?" My body is ready. Taya proudly replied, a big grin on her face. Wait, right after the bunker was. Oh no. Please tell me it's not. Oh, it is, my guide said with a smile. Well, fuck. Taya, Twilight, and I may not have told you the whole truth about what happened with Trixie. Didn't you say you beat her, freed the Alphen, grabbed Fluttershy, and escaped? Yeah, that's what I said. And all of that did happen. We just happened to get captured first. And we didn't exactly kill Trixie. This sounds fun. So what really happened? She asked. Let's see what the coma shows us, I said. Oh, don't be like that, Taya said. Come on, Mommy. We're here to share your memories, aren't we? Yeah, so let's get to sharing. We're both ready. The guide's eyes lit up and we left the comfy glade behind. I had to sigh as soon as we appeared. Trixie was sitting at a fancy dining table, Finny was sitting next to her, sullenly staring at a food bowl, and I was standing next to her in a super skimpy French-maid outfit. To be fair, seeing it in third person showed me just how hot I could be, but it still wasn't something I wanted my daughter to see. Her giggles were reason enough why. Is this what you meant by captured? She asked, completely failing to hide her amusement. She turned Twilight into a stuffed animal and threatened her to make sure I obeyed. There's a reason I left details out. I also got a spanking. Serves you right, she said, covering her flank with her tail. I deserved it a lot less than you did. Anyway, I think I can guess why we're here. Is it because of how we defeated Trixie? Gee, you think? Payne asked. Though it's not the only thing we'll discuss, Reason added. After all, you also purposefully snubbed Luna after she helped you, Fear said. Hearing that in Luna's own voice was kinda weird. On the order of Celestia. I coulda disobeyed, but I didn't really want to see her anyway. Wait, how does Luna fit in this? Taya asked. I contacted her in the dream world to get her to contact Celestia. Once Celestia was asleep, we met up in her dream. The price for Luna's help was a meeting in the dream world after I was rescued. When I told Celestia, she told me not to go. It ended up being moot because we freed ourselves anyway. It did save us from walking back, though. It sounds like you left out more than half the story. I leave out more than half of all of my stories. I really don't like telling them. And you can't forget abandoning Fluttershy after she was kidnapped, Payne said. So are you ready to get started? Yes. Payne jumped forward and kissed Taya. One of her hands reached over and groped me. I wanted to comment on that, but we were whisked away before I could. We appeared in a large room. The walls, floor, and ceiling were all made of black stone. Runes were carved all over the floor. Several Alphens were milling about. Are those demons? Taya asked. They're Alphens, I said. Regular denizens of Tartarus. Before she could ask anything else, Finny and Trixie appeared. As soon as they did, Trixie started screeching in terror. Two of the Alphens pounced on her instantly, forcing her to the ground. One of them finally forced her mouth shut. It's about time, another Alphen said, this one larger than Finny. That's your second longest summon yet, isn't it? It was, Finny replied. And I'd like to be removed from the list immediately. With this slave, your contract is complete, the large one said with a nod. You'll be removed as soon as she's processed. So what's the story with this mare? She's a real bitch, Finny said, making the large guy blink. Sorry, that's what I guess partner used to describe her. She first summoned me a few years back to get revenge on another unicorn for some stupid nonsense. After that attempt failed, she got picked up by some powerful demon my partner called Discord. Discord, the large guy shouted, his eyes going wide. Are you sure? That's what he said. I think I heard her mention the name once, too. The large guy looked down at the two Alphans holding her down. Send her to Groger immediately. I'll do the processing paperwork myself. You got it, one of them said. They started dragging her off and she finally began fighting back. Do whatever's necessary to make her comply, as long as it isn't permanent damage, the large one said. Groger pays well for any intel on Discord. She won't move a muscle by the time we're done, one said with a dark chuckle. Trixie started crying and struggling even more. So how did you take down a servant of that demon? The large guy asked Finny. She summoned me to fight against the same unicorn and her partner again. This partner is apparently some race called a human, who looked like some manner of mostly hairless ape. Go see Groger immediately, the large guy said, suddenly seeming much more serious. He pays well for information about Discord. He pays astronomically for any information about humans. And the description he gave me matches what you said almost perfectly. If there's a human out there, that lich will stop at nothing to get his hooves on it. He never mentioned that to me, Finny slowly said. I was his summon for a while and I never heard a word of it. You were his servant before he came here. Apparently right before he came to Tartarus, he went to a land of ice on the bottom of the world and found something there that piqued his curiosity in the so-called humans. He came to Tartarus because there's supposedly human ruins here. Oddly enough, he's still insisting he'll leave when he finds what he came for, even though we all know it's impossible. Nothing is impossible for that lich, Finny said. He has all the time in the world, after all. Why does he want this human? Apparently they were incredibly powerful and lived ages ago. I don't know why he's interested, I just know he is. You need to go see him. I'm hesitant to throw Navarone to the lich's mercy. Not after she went out of her way to help me. I know what usually happens to the living who become subjects of his interest. I imagine the first thing he'd do to someone like that is ask her questions. He probably wouldn't blow her up to see her insides. You know, at least not immediately. Well, when he hears what that awful mare has to say, he'll find out about Navarone anyway. I might as well do my best to find out his intentions for the human and make some money while doing it. Wise. I'll go fill out the forms and pull you off the list. If you'd like, I can send a runner to let your family know you're back and that you'll be home with a large bonus soon. I'll tell them myself when I get back. How are the roads right now? Fairly clear. Groger's general has been working with the local Roos and Crocs to keep the main roads safe. Just move quickly, because you never know when a raiding party might show up. Or worse, when it might start raining. That's one thing I'll miss from outside, Finny said. Running in the rain was an amazing feeling. Alas. Farewell for now. I think I might help the others make that mare submit. The memory finally went grey. So you sent Trixie to Tartarus? Taya asked. I sure did, I said with a nod. Twilight was super pissed. That's because she hates fun, Taya said with a shrug. I think that's perfectly reasonable. I mean, look at what she made you wear. Right. Is that truly the best thing? My guide asked. You have no compassion at all for your enemies. I do for some of them. But Trixie was literally only pissed because Twilight stepped on her pride a little. So because of that, she illegally summoned a being from Tartarus and forced him to attack me and Twilight. And then when she won, she tried to rape me before realizing I was a chick. After that, she tried to get the Alphan to rape me with this thick, hard knot, but he found a way out of it. She was also working for Discord. So I don't see why I should feel any compassion for her. Is that any reason to condemn her to a fate worse than death? Reason ask. You literally sent her to this world's equivalent of hell. Honestly, no. But I wanted to help the Alphan because I felt sorry for him. I also wanted his cooperation. Wasn't Celestia coming to rescue you? Fear asked. When you finally got back to the real world, you appeared right in front of her. Had you but waited, Celestia would have taken custody of Trixie instead. And she might have killed Finny while she was at it. They might also have failed to get to us. And it's likely that Trixie had alarms set up to alert her when there are intruders, so if they came in, she'd have time to surround herself with hostages. Not that I'd expect Trixie to be better prepared than Equestria's elite, but still. Also, I feel like Celestia would have held it over my head forever. Sounds like a whole lot of justifications for repressed guilt, to me, Fear said, patting my shoulder with a wing. What do you think, Taya? I ask. Truly and honestly. I think a Tartarus sentence is a little harsh, to be honest, yet, well, who asked you? Why did you make a deal with the Alphen? Weren't you afraid it was just tricking you? No, Flo told me he was legit. He also had plenty of chances to hurt me where he chose not to. He didn't seem like a bad guy, just someone in an unpleasant circumstance. Because of that, I wanted to help him. Trixie being an Uber bitch made the decision easier. Do you feel guilty? Taya asked. I mean, maybe a little. In hindsight, I would have locked down her dream and let Celestia come in and capture her. But at the time, I took what I thought was the best option available for us to escape as quickly as possible. It just so happens that the path I took also involved the worst revenge I could think of. It may not have been a coincidence. How do you feel about revenge, now that you've seen some of the consequences? Reason asked. It feels pretty good in the short term. The long term depends on said consequences. In Trixie's case, I mean. We all know what happens to people like Trixie in the religion I grew up in when they die. I don't, actually, Taya said. They go to hell to suffer eternally, Fear said. Are you calling yourself a divine agent now? Oh no, not at all. Doesn't mean I can't do my man God a favor every now and then and send one or two where they belong. Especially when they slight me. After all, I think that Jesus guy was all about forgiveness and turning the other cheek, not about seeking revenge. I guess I can say that I do feel a little guilty, but she had it coming so I'm okay with it. Isn't this coma supposed to be about bettering yourself and all that? The guide asked. Is deciding that revenge is acceptable truly okay? Why wouldn't it be? Taya asked. What's right for mommy might not be right for a water elemental, after all. Even though Trixie was likely tortured by Groger and turned into an undead? Or returned to the Alphans to do who knows what? Payne asked. If Trixie was ever going to move forward in life, her pride needed to be shattered, I said. Killing her would accomplish nothing. But now that she's had a chance to see what comes from siding against me, she might be more amenable. If she's still alive when we go to Tartarus, I'll see what I can do about freeing her. That's only fair. So should we talk about the rest of that? Taya asked. You know, like the part about Groger possibly blowing you up. We should, I said with a nod. We essentially have confirmation that Groger caused the horde of undead in Antarctica while trying to get into the bunker. We also know he's likely working against Discord. And he might want to blow you up, Taya said. Can't forget that part. No, I'm not human anymore. He'll probably have a lot of questions, though. If I can survive Arachne, Luna, and Hera, I'm sure I can manage him. Besides, I have some questions for him anyway. It's possible he could detach Ava from me. If you still want that by the time we get there, the guide said. She might grow on you. Like a parasite. It's also interesting to find out Groger summoned Finny. I can see why Trixie would be a huge disappointment after that. Was she really that bad? Taya asked. You keep saying she was a bitch, but how bad is that? It was bad, Payne said. Really bad, Fear added. There's a reason we aren't chastising Nav for siding with revenge on this one, Reason finished. Does that answer your question? I ask. I guess. I was kinda hoping for some examples. She made me dress up like a maid and spanked me for asking a question. She turned Twilight into a teddy bear. She tried to rape me before she realized I was a chick and then tried to get the Alphen to rape me. Like, were you not paying attention? Yeah, but some of that is just rape. You obviously don't care about that too much, since you still hang around Luna, Cot, Pinky, Rarity, and probably a few others I haven't found out about yet. Don't be a twat, I said, thumping one of her ears. I'm ready to go on to the next one. As you wish, Fear said, stepping closer. She enveloped us both with her oversized alicorn wings. Once again, we appeared in Tartarus. This time it was at Mount Oberon and we were looking over Luna's shoulder into a magic mirror. Is Nav safe? Luna asked. She is, Celestia said. Safe and sound back in Ponyville. Ponyville? Why is she not in the palace with you? Because she didn't want to come to the palace with me. That's absurd, Luna said. She just dealt with one of Discord's lackeys. Does she truly think being in Ponyville is safe right now? She should be by your side. Nav's a grown-up, Luna. You somehow keep forgetting that. She's quite capable of taking care of herself. Obviously not, if she needed to be rescued. She didn't, Celestia said with a small smirk. Nav forged a pact with the demon Trixie summoned. Together, they worked to take her down. In the end, the demon took Trixie to Tartarus with him. Nav escaped without you. We did unlock the exit to let them out, but I'm confident it would have only taken Twilight half an hour at most to figure it out. And the only reason they lost is because Nav's armor was cursed. Apparently, it was made using scales from an undead dragon. Eventually it came alive and took over her body. That's interesting. I had never considered making armor from dragon scales, but it makes complete sense. Armor from an undead dragon just sounds. Actually. I bet you could graft a control rune on one and turn it into an undead knight. Nav has no intention of using it anymore, but Twilight has already claimed it. I'd rather not risk animating something like that, even if it can supposedly be controlled. If the rune ever got damaged and it stayed active, there's no guarantee we could stop it. Regardless, putting it on was an unwise decision, Luna said with a sigh. I was hoping the Gender Stone incident would have taught her a lesson. She cleared it with me and Reginald, Celestia said. I honestly didn't foresee any issues and apparently he didn't either. I mean, it didn't seem like the best of ideas to me either, but I couldn't sense anything wrong with the armor. Apparently, it was a gift from Spike, so Nav was trying to put it to use. Perhaps Nav should take the scales from him to make a new set of armor, then. I imagine it would teach that hatchling his place. You know I wouldn't allow that, silly. Besides, Nav would claim any armor that's purple is gay or something stupid like that. Luna snorted and rolled her eyes. Probably. So if you weren't able to rescue her, I guess she won't feel as grateful to me. It's a moot point, Celestia said. I forbade her from seeing you except in emergencies. What? Luna whispered, eyes going wide. How dare you? I will not force Nav to be beholden to an agreement she made while under duress. If she doesn't want to see you of her own accord, any meeting you might have would be unproductive and miserable for you both. You must wait until Nav is ready. While you keep her all to yourself. Celestia giggled and said, I made sure to rub her wings nice and slow to help her calm down. Let me tell you, that got her really riled up. Taya giggled and Luna started grinding her teeth. I'll spare you the details, but Twilight walked in on something truly scandalous. There will come a time when Nav sees you for what you are, Luna coldly replied. And when that happens, I would dread to be in your hooves. With that, she set the mirror down. That harlot. She knows full well that Nav is mine. Of course, I said, rolling my eyes. Ugh. I need to do something to get my mind off this. I bet I can find more of the soldiers to scare. They're always so jumpy that it's almost cheating, but at least it passes the time. When everything faded to grey, Taya snorted. So what's it like to have the two most powerful ponies catfighting for your attention, she asked. Pretty fucking scary, I said. There were times it was fun, but I've seen things you couldn't even imagine. Spooky things. Lewd things, some of which were spooky and some of which were painful. So, I'm guessing the takeaway here is something about how I shouldn't have trusted Celestia. Close, Reason said. You shouldn't have trusted either of them. Although you should have met Luna as she asked, Pain said. You did agree to it. She wasn't in a position to forgive Luna yet, Fear said. So talking to her wouldn't have been very productive, as Celestia said. I still should have kept my word, I said. Even if I didn't want to, I should have at least heard her out. That doesn't mean trusting her, obviously. Even though she was crazy and wouldn't have had anything useful to say. Taya asked. Yet. If you say you're going to do something, you should do it. I've not seen any evidence yet that she's a true threat to me in the dream world, so I can freely talk to her there. I just didn't want to, and when Celestia ordered me not to, I used that as an excuse. The only way Celestia ever would have known is if Luna or I told her. I'm surprised the sisters were at each other's throats, Taya said. Were they like this the whole time? Apparently, I said. Celestia's been destroying Luna emotionally for a while now. I was just another avenue she could use. Some of the things I've heard her say to Luna have been brutal. I'm glad we decided to kill her. I mean, isn't that what Luna gets for being creepy and insane? No, that's what made her creepy and insane. When I say a while now, I'm guessing it's somewhere around 5,200 years, with only a short gap of 1,000 while Luna was on the moon. And even that would still be considered psychological warfare, since she was in solitary confinement for ages. Oh. So, I shouldn't have trusted either sister. I feel like we probably already covered that, but it's good to have a reminder of why. What's up next? It's time for your heart to burst, Pain said. Are you ready? Let's do it, I said. I don't want my heart to blow up. Taya said. We don't have hearts, I said. Remember, most of our organs got replaced with weird plant stuff. Oh yeah. So let's go, I guess. Just don't kiss me again, please. Fine, I won't, Pain said. Instead, Reason jumped over and kissed Taya. One of her hooves poked me on the belly button. End of part 1.